I'm here back with more Horizon. We're gonna do this Dying Lands. So we gotta go Plainsong for first time. I'm also rewatching my Last of Us Part 2 retrospective, which I just realized I spent 15 minutes talking about the Jackson part of the game. I didn't realize how ridiculous that was, but whatever.
Entering the city, and through this we get a lot of fun conversations between Ellie and Dina, some of them having cool callbacks to the original game. And see how the one really does focus on the relationship between the two. And I am underwhelmed by the fact that Dina disappears for a while afterwards, but something I did find strange about this too is that we do skip weeks worth of their relationship and their interactions with each other on the road to Seattle, which makes the seriousness of their relationship during day one here kind of jarring, considering the fact that like during Jackson they were just starting their relationship, but here they're like talking as if they've been together for a really long time, despite the fact that it's only been a few weeks. The gameplay-wise section is very platforming and puzzle-based, and I will say that the platforming in this game kind of sucks. I mean, it did in the first game as well, but considering there's more of it in this game, it really is noticeable just how poorly it controls. There are times where you want to jump and the game just doesn't jump right away, it just feels super awkward, and sometimes I miss landing on the platform despite me doing the exact same thing I would do at times when it would work. But this does lead to the downtown chapter, which is a semi-open world where Ellie needs to find gas to open the gate to the Serafina hotel that served as a WLF base. And the downtown chapter can be finished in like 10 to 15 minutes if you rush through it. But if you explore the open world, there is a lot of interesting interactions and things to find within it. There are optional buildings that have some pretty good loot within. There's an optional cutscene of Ellie singing Take On Me to Dina, and that's a great scene. And anyways, they took the semi-open world element of Uncharted: The Lost Legacy and really expanded upon it here, and I do think they were able to execute it a lot better within this game. But the main story does progress through going to the synagogue and the courthouse. The synagogue is a pretty easy section. There are enemies at the beginning, but you can really just run straight past them, and after you kind of have a really basic puzzle. The courthouse section is a bit more interesting to me, with two pretty big encounters. The one part of the garage being one of the bigger combat sections in the game. The next few chapters are kind of blended together, as it really just feels like a long trek of tracking down Ellie's targets. First, no tell where we find one of the targets having already been killed by Tommy, and immediately after this we get captured by Jordan, another.
Shop American Freight for the lowest price.
Okay.
And immediately after this we get captured by Jordan, another one.
I'm here, as promised. It's singing. Does it mean the chorus is ready?
It is assembled. I couldn't have done it without Varl. But I don't know what good it will do. The chorus is in disharmony. The subject of the cave is bad enough. Land God Fa still hasn't emerged, and every day, more deadly machines try to force their way out, throwing themselves against the defensive cordon we set up around the entrance. That is only the first of many false notes. Your request has exposed deep divisions within the chorus itself and the tribe.
Yeah, I don't care.
So, the chorus is assembled. What now?
They're considering your request.
Then, shouldn't we go talk to them?
When you're ready. But don't worry. The debate won't end anytime soon. Meetings like these can go on for days.
Alright. Then maybe I should resupply first. Who knows how many machines are in that cave?
Assuming the chorus agree to allow you inside.
Aloy can be pretty convincing in these situations.
We'll see. Do what you need to prepare. We'll wait for you above, where the chorus has gathered.
Okay.
Another one of Ellie's targets, and we get this really tense scene where we have Dina being captured by Jordan, and then we have to go free ourselves and kill him, and that's a really brutal scene. Then proceed to escape from the elementary school, which is a very finicky combat section, where every time I play this section, I just run through it. However, the button prompt at the end of the section to finish it is really annoying to get to work, and sometimes you get to it again and it just works right away. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you have to go back and try to find Dina and get hurt again, or you have to go back and kill some enemies to get it to work. I mean, it's really kind of an annoying experience there, but overall, this is a fun enemy encounter if you take that element out of it. After this, we get to Capitol Hill, which is essentially our road to the TV station, and this is a pretty big section. Again, not the size of the downtown, but it's a pretty large explorable area, and you can spend a good chunk of time here. Though I will say I didn't really hate the section, which requires, I remember the first time playing, I was dying left and right because I wasn't paying attention. The section doesn't directly lead into the TV station where
What was it?
What's it to knock?
I didn't really hate the section, which requires, I remember the first time playing, I was dying left and right because I wasn't paying attention. The section doesn't directly lead into the TV station where we see the work of the Seraphites for the first time, and despite all of the setup during Ellie's playthrough for the Seraphites, we don't really interact with them much until Abby's playthrough, which I did find kind of underwhelming, but we do find Ellie's target already dead, but the wolves arrive on our way out, and that leads to us having to escape through the tunnels. And the tunnels chapter is a mixed bag for me. I mean, I personally never cared for dark underground locations in games, and obviously the tunnels here is that, but here we do get our first encounter with both human and infected enemies at once, though I'm too fair, you just run to the end and you'll be fine, but that is another thing that I was kind of underwhelmed by in this game is the fact that these type of encounters don't happen that often. We also get introduced to the Shamblers, which I never really loved as an archetype. I mean, they feel like a downgraded version of bloaters, where they're similar size, but they're much easier to kill. I mean, now they do emit poisonous gas, so really at the end of the day, I just find that kind of annoying, and the archetype to me is just kind of lackluster. It's also during this section that we end up telling Dina that Ellie is immune, and I will say that I did find it underwhelming that Ellie's immunity was such a non-factor in this game story, and I feel like it's only mentioned at points where it would just be dumb if it wasn't. It really feels like Ellie's immunity was more of a nuisance to the story than it was actually an important plot point. But then we escape and we end up at the theater, which becomes our hideout for the rest of Ellie's playthrough, and gameplay-wise, this chapter is pretty uneventful, but narratively we do get an argument between Dina and Ellie, where Dina reveals that she's pregnant, which was foreshadowed earlier in the Capitol Hill chapter, so I was surprised the first time I played it when this was revealed, but Ellie does end up finding a guitar, which ends up reminding her of Joel, and that leads us to the end of day one with the birthday gift chapter, which is a flashback sequence with Ellie and Joel, and I love this chapter. Again, this chapter provides the interactions between the two characters that I wanted from this game, but I also don't have a problem with them trying to tell the new story that they do tell within this game. For me, I do feel like this game kind of blends the old and the new relatively well, though I understand that mix isn't as well respected by other people. But again, this section has a lot of strong character moments. I mean, from Ellie climbing the dinosaur, we have Ellie putting the hat on top of the fossils, we have a fun banter between the two characters here, we have our first gameplay of Ellie swimming. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in this chapter, and it's really a great way to end day 1. Now for Seattle Day 2, which starts off with the Hillcrest chapter, where Ellie goes on her own to find Tommy, only to find out that it's not Tommy and Hillcrest, it's Jesse that's been hiding out there. And I know a lot of people were upset at how the cutscene from the original reveal day trailer that has Joel
So
Ellie
just
together
keeps
is on
going.
her own, and like,
I guess that means the chorus is still in session?
The people sing to soothe the chorus, to help them break their impasse. It wouldn't be necessary if they were in harmony.
I'm not gonna have to sing back, am I?
Of course not. The singing will stop when we present ourselves. Are you ready?
All right, let's go talk to them.
Speak.
Your sacred cave. There's something inside I need. If I can get it, it will help.
Zoe and the Nora have spread word of your story. And what you want. We know of no spirit in the cave. Only Fa, our land god, who entered the cave and did not return.
The power of the land gods is broken. We are diminished. Tales of spirits will not help us. Nothing will.
We weaken, we die, and become fertile ground for new life. This is the natural order.
Wait. You're all just going to sit around until you become food for worms? Literally?
So says the Outlander, ignorant of our beliefs.
Please. Remember how she brought peace to Ray. Listen to her.
We've heard such temerity from you before, Zoe. Let us not forget that you agitated for reckless war against the Kaja.
At least she's trying to help.
Ah, by inviting you to break our traditions? Should we change our ways to suit every impudent outsider who wanders into Plainsong?
No. You should change your ways because your own lands are killing you.
We have stood by and watched as our land gods waste away. You would have us do the same with our neighbors, our children.
And this lone outlander can save us. Nonsense. A single seed matters little in the infinite cycle of growth and decay.
An alarm. It's coming from the mountains.
Was that from the Cordon? It's an alarm!
Machines must have broken through the cordon.
Then we need to get down there.
What about the chorus?
If the cordon has fallen, there's nothing left to prevent us from going in the cave. The time for permission is over.
Then off we go.
Out the gate and
trailer.
around.
But then we see in the game and it's actually Jesse that says the line, and it doesn't play nearly as well. Now, I'm not upset at how they lied about the story. They said that Joel and Ellie's relationship was going to be the main thing. Like, I don't care. And for me, it is better to preserve those sort of surprises for when people play the actual game, but this scene simply just doesn't play well. I just really like Troy Baker's performance of the line a lot better than Jesse's here, and every single time I see the scene, I just compare it to that scene from the other trailer, and it just isn't nearly as impactful. However, from a gameplay perspective, I do think Hillcrest is one of the better made chapters within the game. I mean, the combat sections here are really well designed and utilize some of the new mechanics in the game, like proning, having to avoid guard dogs. It's also just a really fun section to run through. Plus, after you get back together with Jesse, you do have this fun car chase set piece. So, I feel like this section
15 plus.
chapters, despite the fact that it doesn't progress the narrative that much. After we return from Hillcrest, we get another flashback in Finding Strength. This is probably one of the more questionable flashback placements for me, as at this point, it doesn't kind of feel like we just got a flashback, where we get another one so soon. Also, the fact I feel like this one in particular is kind of pointless. Outside the final scene within this chapter, not really much happens within the chapter outside just seeing these two characters interact, which is obviously great, but when also the placement of the chapter feels kind of off, I just question if this section was absolutely necessary. But through the chapter, we do see that it's pretty clear that Ellie is starting to doubt Joel and does act accordingly. The section does start off with a pretty annoying sniper section with Tommy, which technically does set up Tommy's sniping abilities later on in the story, but I still find this section kind of annoying to play through. But it does lead to us traveling with Joel to look for new strings for Ellie's guitar for some reason. And I get that it's further connecting music and the guitar to Joel, which does connect itself later in the story, but was it 100% necessary? Not really, in my opinion. This leads to some infected encounters, including a fight with a bloater, and we have this great scene of Joel saving her from it. So I do find it strange that despite how much you fight it, you have to die from it, essentially. Like, there's no way to actually finish this fight from what I understand. Essentially, you just have to damage it enough to the point where it charges you, and then the cutscene to progress continues. So essentially, you actively have to lose this fight after a certain amount of time. And then obviously the final scene within this chapter is really great, where Ellie does confront Joel. And again, there's some great performances here, both from Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker. And here we get one of the lines from Joel that was in the trailer. Again, people are saying, oh my god, they lied in the trailer, they showed him older when he is here, but it's like, I don't really care. Overall, this is a pretty solid flashback. For me, all of the Ellie flashbacks are pretty good. However, I do feel like this is probably the weakest one of the bunch for me. After this, we do get probably one of the longer chapters in the game, in the Seraphite chapter, where Ellie heads out on her own.
I think that was the strongest one.
Trying to get to the hospital. And I didn't love the stalker section at the beginning of this chapter. I'm not going to mention this now, I'll say this, I just hate stalkers in general within the game. They're just annoying to deal with. And it makes no sense from a narrative standpoint. Like, why is the progression from a runner into a stalker and then a clicker? Like, why do they get more intelligent after being a runner and then less intelligent after becoming a stalker? Like, it makes no sense in my eyes. After that, we do finally interact with the Seraphites, and these can be some fun encounters that really spice up running through them. And while I do love the concept of the Seraphites, I don't feel like, again, they're really utilized as much as I would have liked. And this is one of Ellie's only interactions with them throughout the entire game. So we do reach the hospital and have a chase sequence with Nora, and the scene where we kill Nora is pretty brutal, and I think the scene is one I have a lot more appreciation for now. As at this point in the story, I think you can really tell that Ellie is someone that tries to be this Joel figure within the game. Like, she's trying to do what Joel would do, but that's just not Ellie. Like, it takes everything out of Ellie to just do these acts that Joel would do without a problem. And we see Ellie, like, struggle while killing Nora, and then her immediately puking afterwards, which I do feel like is some strong characterization for Ellie, and also just shows how far gone she really is. Now we follow that up with another flashback, actually the last Ellie flashback until the end portions of the game, and it returns us to St. Mary's Hospital, the location of the ending of the original Last of Us, where Ellie, wanting to know the truth behind what happened, goes there and learns that Joel has lied to her, and I love this cutscene where she confronts Joel. It really just felt satisfying to me, again, as I felt like Joel needed to pay narratively for what he did at the end of the original game, and for him to lose Ellie here, the very thing that he doomed the world to save, was something that felt right. And I will say that I am kind of disappointed that his attempts to win her back aren't really focused on, from this point on, outside what happened the night before his death. I do wish we got some more context on how their relationship was in time in between. I do feel like we could have used another flashback to further deepen their conflict, but to be fair, it probably does work out the way it is, but I do think it could have been better. And now we move on to day 3, in which we spend the first chapter here working with Jesse to...
Germs are the one thing I won't carry.
Jesse to reach the aquarium where Abby is hiding. And we do get some interesting dialogue from Jesse and also some fine encounters in this chapter, but not much actually happens here narratively outside of Ellie ending up siding with revenge over trying to save Tommy, which leads to her splitting up with Jesse, and we end up spending the next chapter in the flooded city on our own. Now here we do get some boat gameplay, which I did enjoy, traversing the flooded streets with the boat here, and we do eventually get a boss battle with the bloater, which I kind of find strange how much the bloaters in this game are kind of held up. As in the original game, yes, there's that big bloater fight in high school, but outside that, bloaters are just kind of randomly thrown within the world. But here we do get 2 massive boss battles with bloaters. But overall, this chapter doesn't really do much narratively, again, outside of getting Ellie to the aquarium. And the final chapter, day 3, involves Ellie navigating around the aquarium to find Owen and Mel, who she does end up killing. And I think this played a factor in why I don't care about these characters when we do see them in the Abby storyline, as we know that they're going to die. But this does some great characterization for Ellie again, doing things against her character, all in this quest for vengeance. These actions that Joel would do without issue, but for Ellie, it doesn't really match her character. And again, it's showing how far she's willing to go to get revenge for Joel. And we get some great music here, some great sound design with the screeching noise that plays when Ellie finds out that Mel is pregnant, and she finally gets a full grasp on what she's just done. But after this, we do return to the theater, having to regroup with Tommy, and we get this fun banter between Ellie, Tommy, and Jesse. But this is all before everything goes down. Abby has arrived and kills Jesse. Ellie drops her weapons, and Abby points her gun at her, and we cut to black. And all this is really great. It's a really tense scene. However, I will say that I am disappointed in the fact that Jesse dies so abruptly, which is something that this game does pretty often, which does seem opposed to what the original game would do with characters like Sam and Henry, who got this really long cutscene to show their deaths, and same thing like Tess, who was given this heroic exit within the game. This game just kind of deals with character deaths as just a way to jump scare the player, which for me doesn't leave as much of an impact at the end of the day. But now we move on to the part, which is a flashback sequence for Abby, and this starts the Abby section of the game. And I know a lot of people have said that, oh, we have to play as Abby, we have to play as Joel's killer. This chapter did get me on board with Abby's character. To be honest, I think now Abby's arc throughout this game for me is much more satisfying than Ellie's. However, I was still upset that we had to play as Abby for as long as we did. I do feel like the pacing of this section is still kind of off. I think in retrospect, I think probably a better way to approach this, which again, like, who knows how it actually affects the story, but I think they should have probably tried out doing Ellie day 1, then Abby day 1, Ellie day 2, Abby day 2, and progress like that instead of having Ellie days 1 through 3, then Abby's days 1 through 3. Because I do think one of the bigger issues is the fact that we end up playing as Abby for so long. The fact that we have to redo days 1, 2, and 3, but this time from Abby's perspective, is a great concept. However, I feel like in execution, when we were just left off of that scene from the theater, it makes it so, especially the first time you're playing this game, you're just waiting to get back to the theater. And like, while they do so many great things with Abby's character along the way, I do feel that detracts from the overall experience. But yeah, let's talk about the dark chapter, which it's comprised of Abby trying to find her dad, and when we do, we rescue a zebra, and this is all fine. I mean, there are some great character moments between the two, but really the standout moment for me from this chapter is the reveal that Abby's dad was the doctor that Joel killed at the end of the first game, giving her a personal vendetta against Joel, and I feel like that was the perfect way to handle this. Again, I feel like Joel needed his comeuppance from the events of the original game, and to have the Fireflies from that group, specifically the daughter of the doctor that he directly kills, is a great revelation here. Really nicely ties together the two narratives here in a really satisfying way for me. After this, we do also get the scene of Abby breaking down after finding her father dead, and this leads to us now understanding the Joel death scene better, now knowing the context behind her vendetta. But after that cutscene, we do get a cut to black once again, only to see the words Seattle Day One once again. And I remember being annoyed the first time I played it. Again, as I mentioned before, it's like we had to go through 3 more days of content as Abby. Did seem annoying at that point, but I do feel like they do a good job at making Abby a relatable character. The problem is I don't feel like they do that until day 2. For me, days 2 and 3 of Abby's playthrough are some of the more memorable gameplay sections within the game, and with Abby's arc to boot, I feel like those days are pretty strong. But again, day 1 is just not great, and I do find this to still be the worst paced section of the game. I do still find a lot of the new characters in the early portion of day 1 to be particularly dull in comparison to the characters that we saw within Ellie's playthrough. It really can feel like a slog at points, but once you get to the forest, the game does pick up again.
To understand what's going on in there, you're gonna need one of these. On the temple. Just like this.
There's blue light on the door.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to.
Don't worry, Zoe. I help.
Now listen. The machines we've been fighting, they're different. More dangerous. That means there's something very powerful somewhere beyond that door. And it wants us dead. Follow my lead. And be ready for anything. We have to find the core of this place.
Okay. Actually, I'll be honest, I completely forgot about this section.
Up again. Again, that's after like a few hours of Abby's playthrough. Now we do start off with the stadium, which is a fine way to start here, where we do spend a lot of time bonding with the character of Manny, who is relatively likable. And him and Owen are the 2 side characters here, given the most depth. And it is interesting how this really just shows us the other side of the conflict, where in the Joel death scene, Manny just seems like kind of a dick. But here he does turn out to be pretty likable. We do also end up spending a lot of time with Mel through this and the On Foot chapter, which is a character I never particularly liked. And it's weird too, because I feel like the game here in these 2 chapters are really setting up a potential like buddy-buddy relationship between Abby and Mel. There was actually a point in my first playthrough I was thinking, is Mel going to be like the Ellie to Abby's Joel? But then I realized, wait, she dies at the end of Game 3, so that's not going to happen. By the time of Game 3, the relationship is completely crumbled. So I really do find this section really pointless from a narrative perspective. I really don't get why it's here. Though the one thing that does help this section is the fact that there are some pretty fun combat sections within. After this, though, we do get to the Ford base, which is mostly just walking around and talking to characters, like Nora being shown here before she ends up heading out to the hospital, and here we do learn about Owen getting in trouble for killing a fellow wolf, and he's in hiding because of that. And eventually we do end up meeting up with the leader of the wolves in Isaac, who is well acted by Jeffrey Wright, but he's really given absolutely nothing to do, which is again very underwhelming, as he should have been this really intimidating villain, but instead he's just this forgettable figure that ends up dying later pretty anticlimactically without doing much within the story. But this does lead to the aquarium chapter, the next of Abby's flashbacks, this time taking place after she joins the wolves, and really focuses on her relation with Owen, which does have some fun
what the
here and there.
fuck?
But at the end of the day,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Gameplay-wise, there's a lot of just waiting around and following, and that's just not fun. Again, I get the narrative significance of it, showing why the aquarium is an important location to both the characters, while also expanding on Abby's background, but it is just a slog of a section to get through. After that, we do have the hostile territory chapter that revolves around Abby traveling through Seraphite territory to get to the aquarium, and again, the Seraphites are an intimidating antagonist, and there is some interesting level design here, it's her traversing around these broken buildings, but at the end of the day, this section doesn't really do much narratively outside just having Abby get captured by the Seraphites, in which she gets knocked out, leading us to the next and final Abby flashback in the winter visit, which I do find strange again that these 2 flashbacks are so close to each other. I guess like where else are you going to put this in the story and have it make sense to the events that are currently happening, but I do find this placement here kind of weird, but this chapter does involve Abby visiting Owen, obviously during the winter time, and ends up showing us how Abby knew about Joel's location, and shows her getting Owen to agree to join her. Again, it's all fine, it's fine, it's really just a setup for like how the events end up occurring. There are some fun character moments from this chapter, specifically from that target shooting competition, but at the end of the day, this entire section does also feel pretty slow. Then we get to the forest chapter, which is again where the game picks up. Once again, we start off with this incredible cutscene of Abby almost getting hanged by the Seraphites, but she ends up getting saved by Lev and Yara, who have really solid introductions here, with Yara getting her arm broken during this really brutal scene, and it is cool to see this scene within the context of the game, as this is another cutscene that we did see years back in I believe 2017. But at the time we didn't know who Abby was. I mean, I remember the speculation was that like Abby was potentially Ellie's mom, though obviously that ended up being wrong. But now seeing this cutscene within the game was cool to see how it connects to the overall story, and the gameplay here is interesting as well. I mean, to be honest, I don't love it. It's essentially just melee combat with stalkers, and that's not really great, but it's at least a cool section of visuals. We then also get a mini boss against the Seraphite that knocks us out, and I still find this ridiculous that she's still wearing Abby's backpack. That's how they explain that Abby gets all of her gear back, but it really just comes off as comical to me every single time I hear her say that out loud, but this section does bond us with Lev and Yara, who I like both of them as characters. Obviously, Lev is the main one of the two, and ends up being one of the best characters in the entire game with his relationship with Abby, and how it mirrors that of Joel and Ellie's, plus also having the interesting background of being a former Seraphite. And Yara is fine on her own right, but I would have preferred it if she was used more within the game, as really she's only prominent here in a very minor way, and then also during the first half of day 3, which at the end of the day isn't that much screen time. So Yara's not only the character I feel like they could have done more with. After this, we get a pretty big infected fight here that I really hate. Not because it's poor designed or anything, but just because I don't find it fun. Really, the entire back portion of Abby Day 1 here is taking place in very dark, enemy-infested areas, and as I mentioned earlier, not really my thing. But we eventually do split up from Lev and Yara and head to the aquarium on our own, and this leads to more sections that I don't find very fun gameplay-wise, though traversing through the ship is a pretty decent set piece, but again, one filled with infected in a very dark area, and I could do without that. But eventually we do reach Owen at the aquarium, and we end the chapter with a sex scene. Yay. After this, we do get to a nightmare sequence with Abby, where she dreams about Lev and Yara essentially finding a new purpose in life to now protect the duo. So at the start of day 2, we do backtrack a bit to find Lev and Yara where we left them, and I do find it kind of humorous how she skipped the return to the aquarium. It makes no real sense how she got back, considering the path to the aquarium to begin with was already destroyed. Also getting back there while also carrying Yara the entire time just seems kind of dumb. But this obviously does set up the adventure that Abby and Lev go on during day 2, which entirely comprises of Abby and Lev heading for the hospital to get medical supplies to amputate Yara's arm, and this leads to a strong series of chapters here. While mostly filled with dark enemy-infested areas, again, something I don't love, but these sections are great from a narrative perspective in terms of really establishing the bond between Abby and Lev, while also providing some of the best set pieces within the game. We start off with the shortcut that involves first getting through some flooded streets until we reach the skyscraper, which will be used as a shortcut. And while we do have some encounters with the Seraphites, the highlight of this chapter is really Lev showing us the way and learning more about how the Seraphites operate, how they become corrupt over time and been misguided by misrepresenting the ideals of their founder. We also have this really cool set piece that is a combat section on top of one of the broken buildings, so that's cool. After this, we do cross the bridge, which again is another really cool set piece that allows for some really great character moments from both Lev and Abby, with Abby for the first time truly feeling vulnerable as a character, because I feel she really comes off as relatable here. This chapter ends up starting after Abby and Lev fall off the bridge and have to descend by going floor by floor, and this is another really great set piece. Really awesome visually, really awesome level design wise, while again also bringing up great character moments throughout, especially from Lev. I always love the innocence in Lev's performance here, where he reveals that he doesn't have a mask, leading to Abby having to get one for him, really setting up Abby as the new caretaker for Lev, again mirroring that Joel and Ellie relationship. Really, this section of the game has a lot of elements of things I typically don't like from games, but I do feel like they made it work, and at the end of the day, I do have a lot of fun playing through this section. Now after this, we do eventually reach the hospital, and we end up splitting from Lev and attempt to lie to the wolves about Isaac needing these supplies, which is really just a terrible lie, but whatever, she gets caught, and through that is eventually broken out by Nora, who helps us break into Ground Zero, the lower levels of the hospital, where we can find more supplies, but shockingly, of course, it is a dark enemy-filled area, and it really creeped me out the first time I played it. Now it's fine. I mean, I don't love the section, but I get it from like a set piece sort of standpoint. Obviously, this does also lead up to the Rat King fight, and the Rat King is probably the best boss battle in the game. Again, it's really terrifying the first time you play it. I feel like now, if you just bombard it with bombs and some of the stronger ammo within the game, it really becomes a cakewalk. But still, this is a really great section for Abby's character as well, showing how far she's come, where now she's willing to go through all this hell just to save the Seraphite, a group of people that she really hated at the beginning of day 1. After getting supplies, we do return to the aquarium, which ends day 2 with Yara getting her surgery. And then we start day 3 with a strange scene between Abby and Mel, where Mel just bashes on her to her face, which always felt weird to me considering how they bonded during day 1. Mind you, obviously Abby has slept with Owen since then, but I just feel like the turn in their relationship just comes out of left field. After this, we do spend most of day 3 with Yara bonding with her, despite the fact she kind of dies abruptly later on in the day. But here, Lev does end up sailing back to the Seraphite Island, and through that, we have to follow suit, leading to the marina chapter, where we have to get a boat to go out there, and along
Fuck
the way,
off. Are you serious?
end up reuniting with Manny. And I didn't love this section from a gameplay perspective. There are definitely points where you just get shot out of nowhere, and that's just kind of annoying. But this is another area that has a pretty anticlimactic death here. Again, Manny just gets shot out of left field. Again, I wish his death was given more gravitas, like deaths in Last of Us Part 1, where Bob's like, get what they were going for here, and we do end up pushing the sniper over the balcony. And obviously it turns out to be Tommy, with this being what happened right before Tommy ends up meeting back up with Ellie in Ellie's day 3, which was a cool like connecting piece between the two storylines. But we do end up sailing for the island, where we get a lot of Seraphite encounters that, for the most part, can just be ran through. And only that is what I end up doing. But something I did love about this section was the fact that essentially this entire island is a battlefield, where the Seraphites and wolves are essentially having their final battle as all of this is going on. And eventually we do get back together with Lev, who had just had to kill his own mother in self-defense, and after this we leave with Lev and Yara until we get captured by Isaac, and Yara ends up killing him out of nowhere, really, which ends up being pretty anticlimactic. Again, like Isaac is never really focused on as a serious threat, despite him being in a position to where you would think that he would have been a great antagonist. And while we're here, I will talk about how I didn't love that the Seraphites' main leadership is never really involved in the game either. Again, I just feel like the Seraphites are kind of underutilized within the main story of the game, and really just show up as a different enemy type to combat within the gameplay. But immediately after killing Isaac, Yara ends up being killed as well, which is another pretty anticlimactic death. I mean, it was definitely necessary for the story. I mean, Yara needed to die to progress Lev and Abby's relationship, but kind of makes day 2 not really matter. Like, obviously it does bond Abby and Lev, and that's really the main point of it, but it is kind of dumb how they go through all this trouble to get supplies to heal Yara, just for Yara to heal and then die the very next day. But this does lead to one of my favorite scenes in the entire game, and that is when Lev lashes out at Abby for Yara's death, saying those are your people, and then we get Abby's response, which is so perfect in You're My People. Again, perfectly wrapping up her arc over the course of the story, having become this Joel figure within this story, and having this Ellie figure in the story in the form of a Seraphite, a person from this group that she showed hatred for earlier on in the game. It really shows the development of her character over the course of this game's story. That really feels like a good redemption arc for her after obviously she killed Joel. After this, we get a really great set piece of the burning city of Haven, and we first have to get there through horseback, and then we get a boss battle with a big Seraphite guy. And I always hate this fight, to be honest. I mean, I really just don't like the melee combat in this game. It really doesn't work for me in most scenarios. But eventually we do find a boat that allows us to escape and return to the aquarium, where we find Owen and Mel dead, and Lev finds Ellie's map that she left behind. And Lev finds Ellie's map that she left behind, leading us back to the present timeline, where we left off. We break into the theater and replay the scene from earlier, but now from Abby's perspective, but progressing through the scene where we see Tommy save Ellie just from the shot near the head. And this is something that I really didn't like. The game tries to make you think, oh, they killed Tommy, but he ends up surviving anyway, and like, it's just kind of dumb that they even made her shoot him in that area to make you think he was dead. Like, why not just shoot him in the torso or in the leg? Like, obviously they were trying to have this impact of like, oh my god, Abby killed him, but it's like, he doesn't die. Like, it's dumb. But we then get to the Ellie boss battle that I still find really strange, as obviously this boss battle mirrors the David boss battle from Last of Us Part 1, but in this situation, Ellie is the David, and we see Ellie using moves that we would use as playing as her, and it's just all really strange. Play as Abby, this new character, and try to kill the person you thought was going to be the main protagonist coming into the game. And this character that you have a strong connection to from the previous game in the series, it's kind of weird. But this fight is pretty brutal and ends in a confrontation that really makes Abby seem like she's back to being this ruthless killer that she was earlier in the game. The fact that she almost takes pride in killing Dina after Ellie tells her she's pregnant, which obviously is explained by the fact that, from Abby's perspective, she assumes that Ellie kills Mel in a similar way. But we do end up having Lev stop her. And again, I think this fully again shows the development of Abby's character, where she ends this cycle of violence. She doesn't need to continuously keep on killing people just for them to come back at her and then people get revenge for her. It's like, we don't need this. She starts to understand the ramifications of the actions that she did. Well, yes, she did kill Joel as retaliation over the death of her father. That ends up leading to Ellie coming back and killing all of her friends, which now if Abby goes and kills Ellie and Dina, it's like, there's gonna be another group that comes back to get revenge over her. Like, she understands this, and I would have been satisfied if this was the ending. Obviously, we would have needed some sort of epilogue scene of some sort, but I do feel like they could have ended the story here with the ending of this cycle of violence. And while I've come to accept the events of Santa Barbara, I still don't truly feel like it was 100% necessary to the story. Again, this ends the cycle of violence that the story revolves around up to this point. And for Ellie to just go and start that again does feel weird to me, but at the same time, it does show again how far gone Ellie is, and how far vengeance and guilt will take a person. But that's it for Seattle, and now we're moving on to the end game, starting off with the farm, which I do kind of find this section boring. And while it is nice to have some downtime with Ellie being happy for a bit, it does lead to some pretty boring gameplay of just walking around the house and having some interactions with Dina that do show the state of their relationship at this point, now taking care of JJ. But we do end up spending most of this chapter just doing farm-related things, and that's just kind of whatever. But we do eventually find out that Ellie still has PTSD over Joel's death, and when Tommy eventually ends up showing up, again, miraculously not dead, he ends up telling her that he's found where Abby is, and initially Ellie turns him down. And I think this really shows also just how far gone Tommy is as well, where we're at this point where he's already lost everything due to his quest for revenge. He's lost his ability to walk, he's lost his wife, yet he's still obsessed over taking Abby down. And initially it seems like Ellie is over it, but then we get this flashback to, again, the beginning of the game, the scene from E3, from the day before the waking up chapter, where Ellie and Dina have their first kiss, and this is a really well-acted scene, but it ends with Joel standing up for Ellie, just for Ellie to get upset at him for doing so. And again, it's so clear that this guilt that Ellie has over their relationship and how she treats Joel really forces her to go after Abby again. And we have this really emotional scene between Ellie and Dina, where essentially Ellie chooses her quest for revenge over the life that the family has been able to build, and essentially really shows just how Ellie continuing on this path of vengeance will end up with her losing everything. This leads us to Santa Barbara, first within Abby's section, the final playable Abby section within the game. And this is really short. It really just has Abby finding where the fireflies are, which is a really great heartwarming scene for Abby's character, where she finally can get the peace that she strives for. And through this section, we also see how her relationship with Lev has progressed to the point where they're essentially a family at this point, and that's really nice to see. But then we head out to meet up with the fireflies, only to be captured by the Rattlers, this group that rules over Santa Barbara. And this is the point where we cut to Ellie, and we get our final infected encounter in the game as we progress through Santa Barbara. And really, every time I played this game, I just ran through the section, never bothered killing any of them. But eventually, Ellie does get captured by the Rattlers, and it uses her immunity to her advantage, getting information from the main Rattler guy. And this is like pretty much the only point in the story that Ellie's immunity actually ends up kind of mattering. But even then, like, it just feels like they kind of wrote it in there just as convenience, and in providing a cool moment within the story. Like, really, at the end of the day, they could have written like other different ways for Ellie to get out of this situation. But here we do have our final human enemy encounter as well, and I mostly just run through this section as well. And I did like how this area is kind of reminiscent of the hospital section within the first game, the final enemy encounter in that game. But really, all you have to do is get to the final doors. But here we find out that Abby is on the beach in Left 4 Dead, and we slowly make our way there to where we actually are the ones to end up rescuing Abby and Lev. Being a bit ironic here that through Ellie's quest for vengeance, she ends up saving the life that she came to end. But we do end up getting to the shore where it would have been a satisfying ending there, and to have this irony come to pass and Ellie save Abby and just lets her live. But again, it's her quest for vengeance that causes her to lose everything here. And instead we have her picking a fight with Abby, the final confrontation in the game. That's essentially a fist fight, and gameplay-wise, I hate this section. I don't find the melee combat of this game fun. And to have the final fight in the game be entirely a melee fight was very underwhelming, though it is extremely brutal. Really, again, exemplifying the rawness of the violence within this game. And Ellie does defeat Abby, who's now malnutritioned after months of torture, and Ellie still intends on killing her. And Abby does end up fighting back, biting off some of Ellie's fingers again in a really brutal way. But before...
More of those cables covering that door.
Okay, so that's important.
Be ready. Oh no. What has Hephaestus done to her?
Turn it into a weapon, which sooner or later will be unleashed.
And then, Plainsong. If my people see what it has become, if one of our gods attacks them,
You know what we have to do.
Bob,
Are you ready?
Alright.
We have to get down there.
Before she ends up killing Abby, she gets this image of Joel in her head. And with this recognition, Abby has now become this Joel figure, taking care of Lev just like Joel did with her, and she ends up letting Abby go. And Abby escapes as Ellie falls to the ground in despair in a really powerful scene. I know a lot of people didn't like that the story kind of means nothing, in the fact that Ellie doesn't even get her revenge after going through all the struggle to do so, but that's not really the point of the story. It's really more so a story about how revenge can consume you. And through that, you'll end up losing everything. And we see that at the end of the game, where Ellie returns home to find it empty, Dina having left with everything, including JJ, meaning Ellie has now lost her idealistic life. She finds the guitar that Joel gave her all those years ago at the beginning of the story, and again, because of her missing fingers now, she can't even play it, losing not only her ability to play music, but also her last connection to Joel. And we follow this up with the final flashback, a scene between Joel and Ellie right before the beginning of the game, later in the night after the dance. And we have this masterfully acted and written scene where Joel tries to repair the relationship once again, and again, it's really beautiful, where it ends with Ellie saying that she doesn't think she can forgive Joel for what he's done, but she would like to try, and you can see how much that means to Joel, and it really feels like a perfect send-off for these characters now knowing the context behind his death scene. And for me, me. I actually really adore what they did with Joel's character within this game. While he isn't in it much and serves the main narrative more so as a plot device than an actual character, I do think this game wraps up the storylines from the original game in a way that I feel extremely satisfying. But then we get to the actual ending itself, where Ellie does find herself with nothing. She has nothing left in the house, has lost pretty much everything she holds dear. And through that, we end up seeing her leave the house and walk off into the distance, which I don't mind as an ambiguous ending here. I mean, obviously, it does leave it very open for a potential third installment within the series. Even though, to be honest, again, I'm in a situation here where like I don't feel like we need one. I would be content if we never got a Last of Us Part 3. I do feel like they've already told the story they needed to tell here. Mind you, I felt that way after the first game as well. But obviously, if they did end up announcing a sequel, I would definitely be interested in what they do with it. But there we go. I mean, I did not intend on this video being as long as it is here, but that is most of what I have to say about The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, to be honest, I could probably go on a bit longer about certain elements of the story, but the video's already been long enough. And again, this is one of my all-time favorite games. And while I do have more flaws with it now than I did when I was on that high after the game's release, I still do adore a lot what this game does. I love the ambitious story that the game attempts to tell. I mean, obviously, it's not perfect. It's not the most tight-focused narrative, but it is a narrative told on a scale that we rarely see within the game medium.
A machine that nearly killed us.
It's still her god.
I do not grieve for a god or a machine, but because I no longer know what to believe.
Look, so if you want, you can go back home.
Do I still have one? And if so, for how long? Can you really heal our lands? Save?
It's a... So I don't think you guys boom, 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 boom. You know, the scary, you know.
One step at a time. But it starts now. Up we go.
But there's more.
Like Aloy said, this is only the beginning.
Okay.
Aloy, core.
Looks like
My
Festus
focus
has
is
been
showing
upgrading the
holograph
security
lines.
grid on the cauldrons. The data's been corrupted. Not sure I can do much about that right now. And my focus doesn't recognize some of these. Must be machines I haven't seen yet.
Got what you need?
Yes.
Let's press on then.
Hey, should we just do it?
Greetings, graduates of Grade 09. Welcome to the regional... Error. Unauthorized access detected.
That doesn't sound good.
Was that the spirit? Minerva?
I don't think so. At least, not directly.
Attention. All personnel must vacate the facility immediately.
What exactly was this place?
Seen anything like it before?
Error. Unauthorized access. Initiating facility lockdown.
I think we might try to do this.
What's going on?
Well, at least the emergency lights work.
What just happened?
Minerva's definitely here. And I think it's trying to keep us out. I'll scout ahead, see if there's a way to get us in.
You sure we shouldn't come with you?
Yeah, Minerva could be dangerous. Let me make sure it's safe.
Okay.
We'll be right here if you need us.
I don't know. Oh. What is this?
Okay, I need to find where Minerva's hiding. I should look for a way to access the facility systems.
Alert! Restricted access. You are not wanted here.
Nope, sorry. Not getting rid of me that easily, Minerva. I can feel a draft above. Might be a way out of this shaft.
Not exactly what I wanted. I don't think this is the right way, right? Because I remember this being a dead end.
Looks like another part of the facility.
Oh, maybe not.
Door's locked. Don't think I'm getting through that door right now. I should turn back, see what else I can find.
Oh, wait, this is the, yeah. That's the area at the end, isn't it? The one that doesn't unlock until the very end. Oh, fuck off. It's not this either.
What are all those cables in the center for? Minerva's shutting me out.
Oh, here.
And I'm outside. I need to find a way back into the facility. Maybe I could look for a way in higher up the mountain. Close. If I can get Minerva to cooperate, I can merge it with Gaia. Finally bring her back. And we can start fixing the blight, the storms, and maybe she can help me figure out who those strangers in the Proving Lab were. Why did they have a clone of Elizabeth? Why did they want it back up?
And the reason I'm continuing here, by the way, is because I really want to end this at a more secure spot. Because again, I am going to be streaming tomorrow.
I might need to glide to that ledge.
Meaning I'll have to close the game, so like, I want to have a decent safe spot. Also, I just feel like it feels right to end it. Like once we enter the Tenakth territory, and once we get the 3 main quests.
I hope the Ataru are doing okay after the attack. Aha, another shaft.
So I do worry if like we have enough time.
Now I've got to find a way to plug into this place.
Hopefully we do. Oh, there we go. Oh, we're here. Okay.
Alright guys, BLM here, back.
Alright, so last few episodes
Alright guys.
uploaded.
I need the console. Please.
Access denied.
It didn't used to be like this. Do you remember it? Anything? You were part of something bigger once. Something good. Gaia. That's right. She can live again. But only if you give her the chance. I can't reboot her without you.
Light. Cease.
You can disappear into her. Become part of her. Like you used to be.
Misery. Will cease.
Yes.
The vibrations in some of these like make me really worried at the noises that they make.
Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Minerva function to original code. Do you wish to initiate heuristic matrix?
Here goes.
So it is Aloy, not Elizabeth. We have much to discuss, but initialization of my heuristic matrix will not be complete for several minutes more. In the meantime, I suggest you familiarize yourself with this facility. It is our best option for evasive operations, and you can make use of its equipment to improve your ability to override machines.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Shall I grant access to your companions? They will be here shortly.
Okay, but don't overwhelm them, okay? They don't have a lot of experience with things like, well, you.
So no fake this time?
No. This time she's real. Varl, Zoe. This is Gaia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Gaia's still, waking up. Let's look around.
I will highlight the location of the lab on your focus. I have established a network between your focuses, allowing you to communicate when apart.
Good. So what was this place?
A regional control center, where Zero Dawn progeny would have overseen terraforming operations in the area.
So this was supposed to be the lab.
That was its intended purpose. Some of the machine data you recovered from the repair bay below us appears to be corrupted. Accessing the terminal in this room will show you how to repair and complete the override.
I'll take a look.
Adina actually is demanding.
Looks like I need data from machine parts to fix the corrupted override.
My initialization is complete. You may continue to explore the facility, Aloy. When you are ready, return to the control room. We have much to discuss.
Alright. Yeah, we're not gonna bother.
This was intended as the main gathering space for control center operatives. Hello, Aloy.
Hi. So you're ready?
Yes. Initialization is complete. All tests show that my heuristic matrix launched correctly and is stable. You must have many questions.
Yeah. But two big ones first. Maybe you can help me make sense of something. A while ago, I had a run-in with a group of strangers who tried to kill me. They had machine servitors and a clone of Elizabeth Sobek with them.
Yes, this was recorded by your focus.
Do you know who they are?
The answer to that question is related to the extinction signal that woke Hades, prompting my predecessor's self-destruction.
The extinction signal? Okay, that sounds ominous.
The signal did not come from Earth, Aloy. The calculations are complicated, but it appears to have originated 81 trillion kilometers away. A distance so vast that light itself requires 8.611 years to cross it.
Okay, so what's so far away and why does it want us dead?
The Sirius star system.
Sirius? But that's where Far Zenith, their ship.
The Odyssey.
Yes, that's where it was headed. But it blew up. Unless... I don't... Why make it seem like they failed? They didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want future humans to think that they were out there. Wait. The strangers who tried to kill me at the Hades Proving Lab? The ones with the clone? Are you saying that they're from... that they're descendants of... Far Zenith?
Yes, that is my conclusion.
We're not gonna be able to fix the biosphere without making you whole. I ran a search for your subfunctions.
Yeah, it does work a lot better to go the other way
That was
around.
the only one I found.
Thankfully, the sensory capabilities of this facility are far more advanced. I will search for the others now. Transmitting query pattern. Receiving. Of Apollo, Artemis, and Eleuthia, I can find no trace. They are simply gone.
What about the others?
Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon are revealed. They lie within reach, procurable.
And Hephaestus?
It too stands revealed, but it is not like the others.
That's for sure.
In the years since the extinction signal, Hephaestus has evolved. Moreover, it is not confined to a single location. It haunts the global network that connects cauldrons to each other across the planet, making it exceptionally difficult to subdue.
Let me guess. We need it bad?
Correct. Its capabilities are essential. Without it, I can only delay the extinction of life on Earth. Hephaestus is our only hope of a permanent solution.
So we start there?
Unfortunately, we cannot. Procuring Hephaestus can only be attempted after my own capabilities have been significantly enhanced.
Grab the other subordinate functions first, then Hephaestus.
Precisely so.
So, Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon. How do I capture them?
To recover a subordinate function, you will have to travel to its location and find the physical processor to which it escaped. Then, exactly as you did with Minerva, you must use the master override to revert the subordinate function to its original code state.
And then how do I get it back here?
The subordinate function must be loaded onto a data storage device. and physically carried back to this facility.
The cartridge your root kernel was stored on?
Yes. Its capacity is limited, so it can only carry one subordinate function at a time. But in all other respects, it will suffice.
I guess I should get going and start bringing back subordinate functions.
Yes. Once we have them, we can focus on the reacquisition of Hephaestus. When that is achieved, I will have complete control of the Zero Dawn system, and the ability to produce as many machines as needed to defeat the Far Zenith threat.
An army of machines. Sounds like a plan. So, the 3 procurable sub-functions. What can you tell me about their locations?
When my predecessor destroyed herself, the subordinate functions sought physical processors capable of holding them. So in each case you will be looking for a powerful computer of some kind. Ether is the closest, and therefore might be the easiest to acquire. However, it appears to be in the middle of Tenakth territory. My knowledge of that tribe is limited to data I read on your focus, but they seem to have a significant inclination towards violence.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. What about Poseidon and Demeter?
Poseidon has taken shelter in the desert south of this location. My substratal geography data indicates that a major old-world settlement called Las Vegas was located there.
A ruin in the middle of the desert, huh? Strange place for an AI devoted to water.
Agreed. As for Demeter, it appears to be located on the coast to the far west. Unfortunately, I am unable to provide any relevant data about the region. As such, it may be the most difficult to retrieve.
Okay, so 3 subordinate functions to go after. Ether, somewhere in Tenakth territory, Poseidon in the desert, and Demeter on the coast.
Where will you begin?
I think I'll try for Demeter.
Very well. Demeter will now appear as the
Like, that choice doesn't matter. Like, you can obviously do, you know.
Acquiring it might allow me to reduce rampant plant growth on a local level. Though I will require Hephaestus and the control over machines that it offers to permanently stabilize the biosphere. Should you change your mind, you can update your objective via your focus interface at any time. I will also transmit...
What level are we again? We're like not even level 10, right?
...subordinate functions to you for reference. Is there anything else I can help you with? I know you have a great deal to accomplish.
I do, don't I?
Is something wrong?
I don't know. It's just that... Elizabeth set the bar pretty high. She had a dream for you, for life on Earth, and a lot has gone wrong, and it's all on my shoulders to fix it. Do you think I can do it all? Repair the system, defeat Far Zenith, live up to her example?
Absolutely. In her last message, my predecessor declared her unwavering conviction in your success. In you, all things are possible. You prevailed in purging Hades and rebooting my system core. You will prevail in this.
Thank you, Gaia. Well, I guess I should get going.
I have unlocked the facility's exits. One leads onward to the west. The other leads back down the mountain to Plainsong, should you wish to return east.
Varl?
Whoa! Gonna have to get used to that. That's you, Aloy?
Yeah. Gaia's opened the exits to this place. Can you and Zoe meet me by the west door?
Be right there.
Okay, I need to bring Demeter back for Gaia. Varl and Zoe are waiting for me by the west exit. But I could head
Level
back east
10.
first. Check on how Plainsong's doing after the attack.
Yes.
Or I
I'll
can
leave you
also
to
look
it.
around here some more. I need to head further west. To, get more of Gaia's components. Make her stronger. You two can stay here in the meantime. Gaia can help get you up to speed. I'm not trying to shut you out. It's like training.
Actually, I'm gonna go back east to get Erend. Bring him here. Look, allies, friends can help. We have a place to stay now. And like you said, Gaia can teach us, catch us up. It'll be okay.
Okay. Take these then.
One to wear, one for backup.
Are you going with him?
No. After what happened in the cave below, I want to stay here a while. There is much I need to understand. Maybe by the time you get back, I'll have a thing or two I can teach you.
Looking forward to it. When will you be back?
I'm not sure. But hopefully I'll have one of Gaia's missing components with me.
Be careful out there. Even in Plainsong, we heard how the Tenakth clanlands are suffering from storms, machines, and now Regala.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
Good hunting, Aloy.
Tenakth clanlands. Somewhere out there's 3 of Gaia's sub-functions. Who knows what else?
So we'll go here and end. So we did level up quite a bit, actually. So we're at level 11 now. We should probably still do it the order as intended. I just think it's too risky, I guess. Though it would be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, we'll probably do that. Yeah, we'll end here. Next episode, continue on. Thank you for watching.